coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Okay, folks, welcome back to another episode of The Home Defense Show. Today, I want to talk about recoil management, and how that affects how you choose your pistol. What kind of pistol should you choose? How much recoil is too much? And this is heavy on my mind today, simply because yesterday I was over at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Of course, it was 70 degrees there, a perfect 70 degrees. And I had a level 1 advanced class beyond basic CPL. We had a great time. I had like 7 students there, and we were shooting for 8 plus hours there. But there were a couple of students, 2 out of the 7, were having some real problems with recoil management, okay? And you know, you can always tell the ones that are having trouble with recoil because they tend to shoot low. And boy, they were shooting low. I mean, the one guy, we'll call him, Johnny C, okay? Johnny C, that stands for Johnny Cupcake, in case you know. Johnny Cupcake, he was shooting low. Just every single time. He was shooting a Glock, a compact Glock 9mm. And he was a big guy. He was about 6'4", something like that. Average build. But he could not handle the recoil on that compact 9mm. And so he was always anticipating the recoil. He was always pushing against the gun. Couldn't get him to stop doing that. And he asked for my advice. I said, well, okay, well, you got different things that you can do. You know, in the long haul, if you want to stay with that gun, you can go ahead and you can start working out your upper body. You can make yourself stronger hands, stronger wrist, stronger arms and shoulders, and work on your stance so you're locked in better, lock the elbows, lock the wrist, roll the shoulders forward, get your head down inside there, and control that recoil. And desensitize yourself to the recoil. And it could take thousands of rounds to do that. But the problem is, it's a really hard thing to do. Other things that you can do are hardware oriented, like shooting a ported barrel. Ported barrel will reduce some of the recoil. Tends to be really loud up close with a ported barrel. I know mine certainly does, but I like the muzzle reduction on that. So that's kind of nice. You can go with smaller caliber, obviously. Very few people shooting a 22 caliber, react to the recoil. It's just pop, 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 hardly any recoil at all. Of course, there's a penalty for that. You go down to 22 and you don't have near the amount of stopping power. But people always ask me, what's more important? Accuracy or speed? And I say, yes, okay? They're both important. So if you're anticipating the recoil all the time, you're shooting low all the time. It's one of the hardest things to fix. But what I had this guy do, I said, listen, why don't you go ahead and shoot my gun? Okay, I had him shoot my my M&P, 9mm, the full frame. It was a much bigger framed gun, and a longer barrel, had a ported barrel. I said, shoot my pistol once. And he got up there and he shot it. And first couple of rounds, he shot low. After that, he was zinging them in like this at 20 feet. And it was just the reduced recoil that was helping him out. So he says, well, what do I do? I said, well, why don't you buy a different gun? And he said, but I just bought this gun. I don't want to buy a new gun. And I said, I'm sorry. You can work with this one, for a long time, shoot 10, 20,000 rounds through it the right way and increase your upper body strength. You can do all kinds of stuff. And you can work through that. Or you can run out here at the Center Shot gun range here and just buy a new gun. And he said, he wasn't happy, but he said, all right, let's go out, let's look at these guns. So we went out and we looked at the guns. And I pointed out, 2 or 3 that looked like something he could handle, because the guy had huge hands. His hands were just huge, and part of the problem on the compact was he couldn't hold on to the gun because it just wasn't, it was too small for his hands. And so he tried a couple, okay, and then he took him out, we took him out on the range, and boy, at that point, he was hitting a business card, okay, instead of, a foot low all the time. And it was just a question of, we had to reduce the recoil for him. And he went ahead and he bought the gun, he traded in the brand new one. I think he lost like $40 on the trade, but that's not bad because he's trading in a used gun. But now he has a gun that he can actually shoot. And he shot that for the last 4 hours of the class. And one of the last things that we do in that class is the FBI qual test, okay? And he started out the class the worst shot in the whole class. It was indisputable, okay? This guy was bad. And but at the end of the class, 8 hours in, we do the FBI qual test. He scored a 55 out of 60. And he had the highest, score in the class. So that was a success story right there. All he had to do was drop some money and get the gun that was right for him. People, one of the worst things that you can do when you're buying a gun is buying a gun, especially your first gun, because you really don't have anything to compare it to, right? Don't buy your first gun without shooting it first. Go to someplace like Center Shot Indoor Gun Range where you can give them a $10 bill, they give you a gun, some ammo, and you take it out there and you shoot it. If you like it, you'll know right away. If you don't like it, you'll know right away as far as recoil goes. Either you're hitting or you're not hitting. So that's what he did there. He shot a couple of guns, he picked the ones that he liked, and this time he didn't make a $500 mistake. He got the right gun the second time around. And that's sad that he had to make the mistake, but he learned by it. My number one recommendation is don't buy a gun that you haven't shot yet. Go someplace where you can try it out first. Try it before you buy it. That is my biggest recommendation to you. Because I tell you, that shooting low because of recoil anticipation, it's really hard to kick that. It really, really is. We'll do another show later on that will give you some pointers, some tips on how to beat that recoil anticipation. But I got to tell you, it's a butt kicker. Okay? All right. Well, hey, this show has been brought to you by Firearms Legal Protection, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical. Go to them and find out how they can protect you and your family from the criminal justice system. And also Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. If you don't have your gun yet, go to Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, rent from them, try it before you buy it. It's a great place to go. We just want to take a few moments to wish all of our listeners a very Merry Christmas.
From the Home Defense Show.
From Firearms Legal Protection.
From Center Shot Indoor Gun Range.
Where it's always a perfect 70 degrees.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!